Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. It is Friday night writing. My name is Angie from Byte-Sized Booksmith, and I am super duper excited that you're here. We're going to give everyone a couple minutes to get in the door. Um, and I am super excited about what I have planned for today. We are going to be playing with the frameworks. We are going to be playing with the plot that changed just a smidge. And I will go over those changes with you as well. If you are here, please let me know. Hey, hi, sup, Master Tamari, hello. Keisha, I already said hey, but hello again. Um, this week has been just a lot. Anyone else having like a massively huge change in their week and just like everything has just gone to heck in a handbasket? Because that is what our week looked like this week. I'm super excited to be here. I asked the LLM a lot of the questions that we had talked about. I also had some questions that came up actually in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the comments after the fact. So, yeah, we have some answers, and I'm pretty happy with where the plot is going. So let's do a really quick recap. So anyone, if you are joining us for the first time, Keisha says yes, crazy editing, formatting, and uploading this week. Yeah, I wanted to be editing and formatting as opposed to doing my day job, but someone has to keep people from money laundering, and that is me. So let's do a quick recap of what we are doing here. So again, if this is your first time, there is a link to the Notion document that is actually both in the chat and in the description below the video. The assignment was to write a novel inspired by the Dresden Files, so Jim Butcher. We are calling this urban fantasy mystery, and it encompasses a couple different categories in the Amazon store. So I did research into that, and I created for us kind of a developmental editor prompt, and it is based on information about the urban fantasy category, paranormal suspense, specifically vampires and werewolves and shifters. Though we have werewolves and shifters, but we're not really looking at them very hard. That's definitely opportunity for anyone else who is writing in this world, is to play with the werewolves and the shifters and figure out what they're up to. Also, private investigator mysteries. So she technically isn't a private investigator, but Dresden was in the Dresden Files, so that's why we went that direction. But I think she's going to be kind of doing her DLO, her dead letter office stuff, as well as trying to find out what's going on with her life and how she ended up as a vampire. So our plan was to create a 3-book series. We are going to have a romantic subplot, which romanticy is really huge right now. So that is part of the reason we are adding that romantic subplot. Female protagonist, which her name is Charlie, a morally ambiguous male lead, and his name is Kingston, and personal stakes. So we have tropes. Everyone's got tropes, but we've got a reluctant hero, found family. We've got Grumpy Sunshine, which we flipped it around, and our Grumpy is the girl and our Sunshine is the boy. We've got our ghost sidekick with attitude. We also have, in addition to a ghost sidekick, we also have an animal sidekick who is actually a manticore, as well as a cursed main character. And it's up to your interpretation. Is she cursed, or is it a gift that she has? So that is our story in a nutshell. Okay. Get him? Yeah. Taking down the money launderers. It's fun. I really should write about what I do, but it really is kind of boring. There's a lot of paperwork. Emery brainstorming a new mini arc. Woohoo! I'm excited for that. Emery writes the Signal, and it is amazing. I'm up to date too. On the Signal. So she does that over at Substack. Okay, so let's talk my homework. Okay, so if you come over here to May 8th, actually, before we even get there, I did a little cleaning up and reorganizing and making things a little bit pretty. So we have our cover here on the front page now. We've got our soundtrack that I started putting together using Suno. Here's our GPT. We also have our plotting partner, which is a prompt that I created and we started using last week. I was very thankful that it actually worked because it had not been tested yet. So it's technically not untested anymore. It is tested. And yes, it works. We also have our urban fantasy mystery developmental editor, which, if you know me, I have a million developmental editors and they are amazing. We also have our urban fantasy world building template. We used that, what was that, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? And then some other tools. And I also added this in here, tracking subplots in Novel Crafter, because it's something that I want to use on this project. It's part of Novel Crafter that I've not used it before. I want to use it so we can actually use the matrix inside of Novel Crafter. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the link and you will be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, Christina, nice to see you. So we actually really haven't gotten started yet. I'm just bringing everyone up to speed. Now we are going to dive into the homework. So first thing you are going to notice is the A story has changed. I was sitting here thinking about the story today, and I was like, you know what? Something just doesn't feel quite right. And when I wrote prior to AI, it was all very character based. I would figure out who the character was first, and then I would figure out how to completely and utterly mess up her life. That changed when I started using, the assistance of an LLM. And, with it, I became much more plot based. So I would figure out, okay, here's the concept. And then from the concept, I would add locations and I'd add characters and all the other stuff. And so it was very backwards to how I initially created stories. So I decided, it's like, hang on a second. Maybe the reason this doesn't feel right is because this story is much more character based as opposed to a lot of the other ones that I've written recently. And, what happens if we put her story and her dealing with, hey, I am now a vampire. What if we make that like the big thing? Like, why did I become a vampire and all the other stuff? What if we make that the thing that we're shining the light on the heaviest? And then, not necessarily make it I guess technically make it a little bit less about the conspiracy. And so that's what I did. And this is the result of that. So now our A story is Charlie's transformation in her identity journey. So who turned her and why? And she's not just a vampire, she's actually a hybrid. And what does that mean? So her character arc is going to be from a disoriented detective to an empowered hybrid, embracing her unique abilities to uphold justice in a corrupt supernatural world. And then, so, it's going to happen across, the timeline of however many stories. Yes, Emery, I do too. I think it feels um, much more tangible. It feels much more tangible. I'm actually reading another story myself, um, and it is about someone who basically becomes a supernatural, you know, in their adult age, and you know, looking at how her journey is, it definitely, it's not like a walk in the park. Oh, hey, I'm a vampire now. Let me just go back to my life the way it was. No, it was, a big deal. So, um, okay. So now our B story is going to stay the same. We are going to continue to have a self-contained mystery, one of them per book. And then we are also going to have that ley line conspiracy, but it's now our C story. So it's still there. It's still connected to her transformation. It's just in the background a little bit until we get further along in the series. So, book 1 is going to be much more about her transformation and, what does it mean to, be a hybrid. Looking more at her personal power, and I think a lot of it's going to be about her. This happened to her. She did not consent for this to happen to her, and her taking back her power. So, now if we come down here, we actually have more subplots. Now this was not planned, but I just couldn't say no because I couldn't. So we've got her complex relationship with Kingston, which is actually going to be AKA her romance with Kingston. So do I think they'll ever, they're definitely not going to get together in book 1. Let me just tell you that. It's going to have to be a slow burn because he's got a morally gray past. He's bound to the DLO because of a punishment. So something that he did in his past, he is being punished for it. And due to that, he is bound to the DLO. What is that? I don't know yet. But Charlie is going to have to learn, because I definitely see her as being someone who's very much, on the side of justice and, uh, kind of like that good girl mentality. But she's also going to have to learn that now playing within the rules doesn't necessarily feel great anymore. So it's going to be a big change for her too, that maybe, learning to color outside the lines. We'll just put it that way. So yeah, we're going to have a slow burn relationship. But yeah, it's going to start with tension. It's not going to be comfortable. And I'm sure we're going to have a good time laughing at them because, yeah, I have a feeling like Kingston is going to be a card. Okay. So adapting to supernatural existence. Yeah. She's, this kind of goes in, bleh, sorry, goes hand in hand with our A story and her transformation. She also has to learn to exist as a supernatural. So her life is completely different. She now drinks blood. Like, how what do you think about that? Hey, you wake up one day and yeah, you have to drink blood to get through the day. I mean, yeah, you can still have your cheeseburger, but you got to drink blood. Would that not be like completely jarring to you? Also, she has the voices of the ghosts. I fully anticipate, them being everywhere and talking all the time. Um, and then, when she comes across them, most vampires, actually, vampires in general, can't see ghosts. She's the only one who can. And uh, it's going to be definitely interesting to see how that comes across on the page. Oh, my throat's dry. Okay. So yeah, we are adapting to our supernatural existence. We also have our team dynamics. So, um, you know, having our found family is part of one of our tropes, and so that means Eddie and Veritas, and the other people in the DLO staff, which we haven't created yet. That's maybe next week. I don't know. I don't know if next week will be adding more characters or if we are going to look more at outlining. We'll see. But we're definitely getting ready. We're at that point. We're ready to start digging into book number 1, and definitely the fun stuff is coming. Not that this isn't fun. I love this part too. But okay. So we also added a subplot 4, which is vampire corporate politics. So she's an unauthorized vampire. She's been created outside of the control of the corporation. She's going to be more powerful than many of their mid-level managers that manage all of their little corporate worker bees and the quote-unquote cubicle vampires. So she doesn't conform. And what do we do when things don't conform? Well, we destroy them, right? Well, that's what they're going to do, or try to do at least. And so she represents a challenge to how everything is. And so she's going to have to figure out how to live either in what they have established or break out of it somehow. I fully see her as maybe being, kind of a Katniss Everdeen a little bit. She is a sign of change and a sign that maybe what they are offering us in the corporate vampire world isn't what's best for us. So, okay. So the other part of the homework was the self-contained mysteries. So, I need to speed this up. We have to get to work. So if you guys want to, you can go through these B story options. Some of them are okay. Some of them are really pretty bad. I did put the prompt that I used after I provided it the first part. And it, oh, hey, Alicia. Some of them are good, like I said, and some of them are just really bad. And take a look. Let me know which one you guys think is the best of these self-contained mysteries. We have to pick one for book 1, but book 1's going to be kind of busy as it is. I fully anticipate that because she gets to get turned into a vampire, and it's happening on the page. You guys asked for it. I did a little bit of background. I talked to the LLM a little bit extra. I'm like, hey, can we do this on the page? It said, heck yeah. So that is the plan. We are going to begin book 1 with Charlie being a human. So we are going to have quite a bit of work on our hands because if we set her up in the codex as human, then we have to go in and change that. Or we're going to have to turn it around so we're using codex editions. So it's either way, we're all going to learn a heck of a lot, and it's going to be fun. So let's get out of here. One thing I wanted to show you guys, and this is how I did a lot of my discussion with the LLM this week. Normally I play in ChatGPT. I didn't want to play in ChatGPT this week. Why didn't I do this in Novel Crafter? Because I'm cheap. I already pay for Claude. I already pay for ChatGPT. I didn't want to necessarily pay all that money to Open Router. I want to save that for when I'm writing prose, because that's when I really think that Novel Crafter shines the best. Yes, it's fantastic at plotting and everything like that, but I'm going to go back to what I know. And I know Claude well. I know ChatGPT super well. So what I did was I created a project, called it Dead and Delivered. Doesn't really matter what you call it. For the prompt here in the project instructions, I grabbed a good part of the Urban Fantasy Mystery Series developmental editor prompt, threw it in here for the instructions, and then I grabbed the codex HTML file. So remember I provided last week, there's a download. Let's go back here. If you come down here, if you downloaded this file, all you have to do is extract it. There is a file called codex.html. I popped it right in here. Now you have access to your entire codex inside of Claude. And then after I figured out the series arcs, all I did was come in here, add text content, and popped it right in here. So I've got our series arcs as well. So I was able to chat with basically my entire project in Claude and figure out, okay, this one was, confirming, hey, what are my plot lines? This one here was, what are the different mysteries from the Dead Letter Office? I also had a conversation with it. And actually, I'm glad, Christina, you are here, because Christina says, well, in the last video, she's a vampire, so she has no soul. Well, I was like, I don't know about that. And I really appreciate it, Christina, that you said that, because I hadn't defined that. Do vampires in this world have souls? And I think they do. So I'm going to move forward like we have souls in our vampires. I'm going to put my foot down and say, hey, I'm the creator of this world. My vampires have souls. There were some ideas about, whether or not, because she is part psychic, it's why she has a soul. I was like, none of that. Vampires have souls. And then they choose to be part of the corporation, and pretty much, they choose to do what they do. So does that make them better? Does that make them worse? I don't know. But we will figure it out as we go. The last thing was credit and currency. So last week I said, hey, I don't even know how these people get paid. And it's going to actually be a combination of human money and currency, and certain specific things to the supernatural world. So it's going to be kind of a combination of different currencies. So still working on it. It was talking about these things called bloodstones and some other thing. And there's also loan sharks, all kinds of other things. And I'm just like, I'm not ready for this right now, but thank you for bringing it up. But let's get in the story. And I'm going to grab a sip of water. Now, I haven't made any changes since last week, because everything is still the same. But we do need to add in here our new information that we have. So we need to add in our subplots and our story arcs. Sorry, I was looking at something. So what I'm going to do, though, before we do that, I am going to, actually, no, I'm going to go ahead and put them in there. I'm going to put them in as one singular object. So I'm going to call it other. What I might do later is I may go back and in the actual individual story, I might do it a little bit differently. Once we figure out what happens in each story. So let me go ahead and grab all this. Why isn't it going? There we go. Oops, too far. Okay, I'm going to grab all that and we're going to call this plot. How about the plot? Let's make it all fancy. There we go, the plot. Okay, so we've got our 4 subplots and our 3 series arcs. There we go. So now while I'm in chat, I can just say the plot and it will actually call up this entry. And actually, you know what? I'm not even going to call it the plot. I'm going to call it the series plot just in case I don't want to accidentally call it if I'm talking about one of the other books specifically. So we'll call it the series plot. And you know what? That probably should also get series. So I went ahead and I added series. And so that makes it blue and it'll actually move it up to the top. So now it's right here. Okay. Any questions before I continue? Because we are going to start talking about subplots. I'm sorry, frameworks. Okay. I'll give you guys a minute to answer as I go and open up a new chat. And I will be chatting. I can't tell you why I did that accidentally because something's about to change. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Dev editor. That's why I can't find anything today. I've been writing in a different version of Novel Crafter. ... There we go. Okay. 3.5 sonnet. There we go. And so here we go. Let me see if this still fits. This is what I used earlier. So I want to assign an outlining framework to each of the arcs and subplots to give me an idea of the different beats that each of the books needs to hit for the series plot. Okay, so now it's actually going to call the series plot in. Save the Cat tends to be my go-to framework. Are there others that might be a better fit for each of the arcs or subplots? So basically what I'm asking the LLM right now, hey, I've got these arcs, I've got these subplots. Which framework should I use for each one? Now, what do I mean by framework? If you have been around for any period of time, you know that I will often refer to outline frameworks, such as Save the Cat, such as The Hero's Journey. There was one even during the 12 days of Storycraft. It was called Take Off Your Pants. Take Off Your Pants framework, TYOP. So, and actually, for anyone who has the Byte-Sized AI Toolkit, if you come down here into the legacy table of contents, there is a whole section of story frameworks. So we've got Lester Dent, we've got Romancing the Beat, Save the Cat, The Hero's Journey, the Mafia Romance framework that I created to go with the sample codex, The Heiress's Gambit. And then we also have these other 2 sections, which are series frameworks. So there are many different types of series, but the 2 that I have provided resources for are what's called an interconnected series template. So that is something you're going to see quite often in romance specifically. If you have a specific world or a group of people, and then let's say, for instance, they're in a small town, and then the hero and the heroine change in each of the books. So, the first pair falls in love, and then the second pair falls in love in the next book, and then the third, and whatnot. So it's pretty popular for the especially like the insta loves and stuff like that, to have a bunch of different short stories in a series. So, and they will typically have a different hero and a heroine. But that is what the interconnected series template is. And we also have here what I call the Save the Cat series arcs. And this is for a continuous series, or what's called a serialized series, which makes no sense. But yes, serialized. This is going to be, your Harry Potter has 7 books, or the Wheel of Time has a million. I'm not even sure. Dresden Files has 17. So, and I have actually the Save the Cat broken up to where it's in 2, 3, 4, or 5 books. And if you go through here, you can actually look and see. So book 1 will set up the world and introduce the key conflicts. Book 2 would escalate the conflicts and raise the stakes. And then here are the individual points that you would need to hit in each of your stories to follow kind of the Save the Cat using this. So this is pentology. One thing I forgot to mention earlier was, as I was doing this today, I also realized 3 books isn't enough for the series. We're actually going up to 5. So it's kind of why I hit 5 books. So we are no longer doing a 3-book series. We're doing a 5-book series. Am I writing all these books? No. I will be writing the first book. But we do have a world and arcs and plots to sustain a 5-book series here. So we are way beyond a trilogy at this point, guys. But if you're interested, these are here. They're on the popular story frameworks page here in the toolkit. So now that I have assided, let's come back here. So I am asking the LLM, hey, with all this information that we have, what is the right framework for each of these arcs or for these plots? So yeah, pentology. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I really do like to do things the hard way. Okay, so I've got this there. Yep. Okay. You're here for it? Okay, awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Okay. So it looks like and wow, it's going a little fast. So a story, it's recommending the hero's journey with identity arc elements. Okay. So got our ordinary world. Our call to adventure is actually the forced transformation. Refusal of the call, so the denial of her new nature. Absolutely. So let's talk beats for a moment, because I know people get confused when we talk about beats, because in Novelcrafter, we talk and we use scene beats, okay, when we're writing. But, on a scale of people who write things, we have what's called story beats. I will be talking about, these are honestly series beats, but it works the same way as a story beat. There are certain ways to approach a story that people recognize, and that's what those are called. They're called story beats. So when we have our 4-act structure or a 3-act structure, there's certain beats that you need to hit at certain points in the book for the book to move forward so that it will be pleasurable for someone to read. You know, anyone can throw a bunch of words on a page, but giving it structure is one thing that authors love to do. So that gives us our story beats. So here are our key beats to track. So atonement with the father / abyss couldn't represent confronting whoever turned her. Okay, that's interesting. The return aligns with her becoming an agent of change. Okay, I can understand that. So with our B story, we have our self-contained mysteries. So this is suggesting the 7-point mystery structure. Now, I will tell you, I have never in my life heard about the 7-point mystery structure. And odds are it probably made this up. It likes to do that occasionally. What I will probably do is I shared back in December, I shared a mystery framework. I will probably be using that one. But I just wanted to let you see that it will quite literally recommend all kinds of stuff for you. Okay, so the ley line conspiracy. So it's talking about a conspiracy thriller structure. Again, I've never heard of this. I think it's making it up. But it's innocent discovery, pursuit, revelation of the conspiracy, raising the stakes, identifying the conspirators, gathering evidence, confrontation, and aftermath. And it's not bad. I may not change it. I might save it like, keep it like it is, or I might go with another structure. I'm not quite sure yet. So now with our subplots, so it's giving us a romance arc with ethical conflicts. I've never heard of that before. So meet, barrier, attraction, complications, false hope, dark moment, growth, and union. So that's interesting. You could just go with the what is the romance one? I just looked at it a few minutes ago. Romancing the Beat. There you go. I come on here, my brain just disappears. So adapting to the supernatural existence, a skills mastery arc. So incompetence, awareness, awkward attempts, small victories, setbacks, integration, and mastery. So a found family development arc. So force association, testing boundaries, crisis bond, deepening trust, betrayal or secret reveals, reconciliation, and family solidarity. So that's what they're suggesting for subplot 4. That's for 3. And then a power struggle arc for subplot 4. Identification as threat, initial neutralization attempts. So they're going to try to kill her. Escalation, political allies, corporate countermoves, strategic response, and power shifts. So these are all different. I mean, some of them are pretty good. Will I replace them all? Probably not. So some of these will definitely work. They're specifically with the subplots. But I wanted to try something a little bit different. Something that the LLM doesn't know. And that would be novel clock. So novel clock is basically, I think it came out less than a month ago. It's from our friends over at Novel Crafter. And I want to see what would happen if we applied novel clock to our A story. Who's interested in seeing that? I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And it's a little bit on the long side. Normally, if I knew I was going to use it, which I did actually know I was going to use it, I probably would have created a codex entry and just... Actually, I still can do that. Let's do that. Other. We'll call it novel clock. And I'll just pop it here in here. So, and I did include the link to the novel clock so you guys can check it out. It's on the Novel Crafter website, and that is from our friend Corey. So good job, Corey. This is awesome. I definitely can't wait to play with it. My initial testing with it was pretty cool, so I liked it. So let's come down here to the bottom. What if we were to change the, what do I want to call it, framework for the A plot to novel clock? Okay, and you can see that it's actually pulling in the novel clock prompt that the codex entry that I just created. So let's go ahead and what would that look like? I want to be specific. Uh-oh, we got a husky. What would that look like if Charlie starts out as human at the beginning of the story and is changed into a vampire during the story? Okay. I may have over-explained what I wanted, but I'd rather be specific. And we'll give it a minute. Okay, so over in the chat, so yes, some people were excited about Novel Clock. Yes, me too. Master Tamari says, oh yes, I haven't tried it myself. Would love to see. Fantastic. We are going to get to see that. It looks like it didn't do quite what I was expecting. But we'll look at it here in a second. And then Christina, I started using Novel Clock a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, very, very good. So it's actually starts with Act 0, which is kind of like a prologue. And, I made my stance on prologues very clear last week. Wow. I should have been a little bit more specific, even. I could have been more specific and say book 1 of, or that it was 5 books. But okay, here we go. Mapping Charlie's transformation to the Novel Clock framework. So, Hand of the Villain, a glimpse of this Carmina Syndicate's Leyline Tammering, or the disappearance of Charlie's future sire. Perhaps show the aftermath of supernatural crime scene that will connect to Charlie. Establish something is wrong in the supernatural world without Charlie being aware of it. No. Let me make this clear. No, we are not going to do a prologue. Here we go. Act 1, establishing Charlie's human world. Capable but psychologically wounded. Yes. Show her knack for solving cases. Okay. Establish these things. Demonstrate her close relationships with her family. That I'm not sure about. I don't think that she has necessarily a close relationship with her family. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but she does have a family. And so that's one of those things that she is going to have to leave behind when she becomes a vampire. This is gross. Hints of vulnerability and flaws. Yes, we're going to have them, but it's not that big of a deal. We need action. This is urban fantasy, people. We kick butt and wear leather. We don't talk about our feelings. Mixed bag protagonists were invested in. Charlie investigating something strange despite being on leave. Okay, we talked about this last week, like how does she end up getting pulled away by the vampire to actually get turned in the first place? And we talked about maybe, if she saw someone who was in trouble and went to go help them, that whether or not she was on leave, she would have gone. So I get it. I got it. Continuing unofficial investigation. I don't know about that. Growing evidence that something super. Yeah, she's not going to connect the dots between the supernatural before she gets turned. She's definitely not going to encounter Kingston. That's not going to happen. So, we're definitely going to have to edit. I kind of want the beginning of Act 2 to be her transformation or her waking up transformed, because she's not going to remember it. So we're not going to see it. But am I going to write it? 100%. I'm definitely 100% going to write both how her sire turns her and 2, how he dies. So at least I know how it happened. We can always refer back to it later, whether we use it or not. And, hey, that's marketing material right there. That's stuff that you can give away. Later when you're promoting the book, get people on your email list, and maybe it's, stuff on the cutting room floor that you are offering your subscribers. So everything you write, you can use it somehow. Confusion and disorientation, waking up in the alley with the blood on her shirt. Horrifying realization of her transformation. I don't. How is she going to? I mean, she's going to wake up and she's. I mean, how do you know that you turn into a vampire? I would just think she'd probably like go home and maybe see that she was bitten, and I don't know if someone tracks her down first, or maybe some supernatural notices she's laying there and takes her to the vampires. I'm not sure. My question is, oh, hang on. Hey, Jonna. I'm not used to watching a video. I can't 2x the speed. Oh my gosh. Yes, Jonna, that is the unfortunate thing about me being live is you can't speed me up. My son just laughed at that one. So rejection of vampire reality. So complete denial of her new nature. Yes, that is 100% going to happen. I am not a vampire, and you can't convince me otherwise. Vampires are fake. Vampires are fiction. What the heck are you talking about? I'm a vampire. Yeah, refusing supernatural assistance. Yeah, I can totally see that. Confronting her vampire reality. Failed attempts to function. I don't know that she's going to go so far as failed attempts to function as a human. Vampire corporation finding her and confronting her, can't go home moment, realizes she can never go back to her human life. So that has to happen. We 100% need her to, come to the realization that the life that she has led to this point in her, was it 26 years? 29 years is now over. You can't go home. There's nothing left there for you anymore. So that's unfortunately where we need to go with that. But, she needs to have that to be able to move forward. So we've got her emergency induction to the Vampire Society. So, like, what the heck is happening around me? Like, all these people are freaking out. Why? Why are they freaking out? She's a vampire. It should be her that is the one freaking out, right? And then they're going to drop her off at the DLO. And she's going to meet Eddie Veritas and the other employees. Fish out of water at the DLO, 100%. Maybe I have this feeling like Eddie making fun of her or something like that, assuming because she is a vampire, she can't hear him, and her saying something right back to him, and he being like, "What?" That would be hilarious if that's the first time that they realize that she can talk to ghosts. Okay, the feather moment. Ghost delivers crucial information only Charlie can hear. Okay. That's interesting. So they're putting that at the end of Act 4, actually having a different ghost that she can hear. So that's maybe. First proactive investigation. So she's going to have to work with Kingston to solve a case while trying to figure out how the heck she turned into a vampire. Initial success with supernatural cases. Okay. First supernatural confrontation. Okay. Anyway, so I am obviously going to have to go back through here and make some major changes. What I am thinking and what I want to do is basically figure out what are the key beats for each of the arcs, each of the subplots that need to be hit in each one of the books. So that is the goal of this week. So apparently the Husky's got a lot to say today. So I'm going to go back through what we have created, make changes, tell it it's dumb in certain occasions, tell him I know better because I am the author and theoretically I know what I'm doing. And then I'm going to, probably the easiest thing would be to create a plot grid, and so to where I can see these are all the things that have to happen, and these are the things that have to happen in each one of the books, so we can stay on track. Then once we know the beats that we have to hit inside of book 1, then we can actually start outlining book 1. Add some additional characters, add some additional locations. Where do we need to go? Who do we need to see? Who do we need to talk to before we move on to book 2? Same thing with book 2, having an idea of the different beats and the different things that we need to go through in book 1. Make sure that we hit those things. What are the clues we need even? What are the red herrings? So that when we get to book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, it doesn't just come out of, the ether that, oh my goodness, these are the bad guys and we're trying to take them down. So yes, I didn't think that there was any way for us to solve the conspiracy in 3 books. It wasn't gonna happen. And after looking at last week and like the things it was recommending for us to be able to solve that, I was just like, yeah, there's absolutely no way. Now, are there any questions? We've got about 5 minutes left. And we're going to continue to build out our outline. We're going to continue to build out, we're going to add, again, those locations, add those people. There might be people that we aren't going to need until later. So they won't necessarily show up in our, oh, it's Corey. Hey, Corey, it'd be fun to feed the things you need to hit into Novel Clock and see where they land. Yes, that would actually, that's something that I was considering is, hey, these are the beats that I do need to hit. And yeah, I like that idea. Thank you, Corey. It's the Corey, the creator of Novel Clock. Yay! Okay. Any other questions or suggestions? And like I said, this is the article on novelcrafter.com about subplots and how to track them. And it's very interesting reading. I was trying to figure out how to do this, and I'm so glad that they put this article up there, because I believe they're actually using codex editions, which I haven't gotten to play with those. I was on vacation when the last update came out, and never did get to show you guys how to use codex details. So I have a feeling we're going to see that pretty soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay. You guys are so excited that you are probably working on your novels right as we speak. And so you can't chat with me. My son is here as well. Say hi, Connor.
Hello.
Okay. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this week. I as usual, have some work to do. Quick reminder that we will not have a Friday night writing on the 30th. I am taking that week off, but we will definitely be here on the 16th, which is next week, and the 23rd. And hopefully we will have some sort of outline and be ready to, if not start the book codex, be ready to start writing after we get back. That would be phenomenal. But I want to show you guys as much as I can because I know I have a tendency to go and work. Oh, you got hijacked by the Pentology resource. I'm so sorry. Yes. Yeah, I did a lot of work on those, and I think they came out pretty good. Actually offered that to our Story Alliance group first, and they liked it, and then I went ahead and I stuck it into the AI toolbox. So you'll see a bunch of new stuff coming to the website very soon. I've got a bunch of new genre packs. I was working this week on a sports romance sample codex, and I must say it came out or is coming out quite well. So as far as sample codices go, also working on a dystopian as well. It's going to be like more, as opposed to like disaster dystopian, it's going to be technological dystopian. And then there's several other things that I've already created that will get added, such as cozy fantasy romance. I have several not safe for work ones as well that will also get added. So I know I've been a little slim on adding not safe for work resources since I really can't talk about them on the channel itself, but I can definitely put them on the website, that's for sure. You're welcome, Jonna. I think the reason that I did it was because of you. You and Bonnie. How do you market yourself? What do you mean? Husky apparently has opinions about that. Are you asking how do you market yourself as maybe like a future video, or are you asking me specifically? Okay. Well, I haven't got an answer back. Christina, if you want to send me a DM, feel free to. Or if you want to post a comment, I can always come back later and I can answer that for you. So I definitely would like to answer that for you. I'm going to go ahead and end us for today. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your interest in this project. As soon as I get some more stuff added to the codex, I will definitely 100%. Oh, your dogs are barking at mine. That's my son is making her bark because he thinks it's funny. Uh-huh. So, okay. Yeah, my child free time is apparently over. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Yes, thank you so much for coming. Have an amazing week. Happy writing, and I will see you next time.